Jai Hind students. Today we will discuss the remaining topics of the chapter number 2 of civics, federalism. In the last lecture we had discussed about what is federalism, key features of federalism, coming together federation, holding together federation, what makes India a federal country. Now today we will discuss about how is federalism practiced. Constitutional provisions are necessary for the success of federalism, but these are not sufficient. If this system of that federal experiment has succeeded in India, it is not just because of the clearly laid out constitutional provision. The real success of federalism in India can be said to the nature of because of nature of democratic politics in our country, which ensured that the spirit of federalism, respect for diversity and desire for living together, which became the shared ideals in our country. Some types of problems also there that is faced by the Indian politics. First is that formation of state on the basis of language, and this made India more united also. If you go through the political map of India, many changes were there. From 1947, as the changes were started in 2013 also, that creation of new state and the old states were vanished on that time. So there were many changes in the political map of India. In 1947, the boundaries of several old states of India were changed in order to create new states. This was done to ensure that people who spoke the same language lived in the same state. Some states were created not on the basis of language but to recognize differences based on culture or their geographical areas or their geographical things. It like Uttarakhand, Nagaland, Jharkhand. When this demand was raised by the people that formation of state on the basis of their languages, on that time leaders they have a fear that it create the disintegration in our country. It will not because of that our country will not be united anymore. It create problems for the country, so they were in so much fear. But because of that, the formation of state on the basis of languages, the country is more united. People are living happily in their states, and whatever they want they had done. And because of that experiment, now the country is more united, and it has also made the administration easier. The second one is that language policy. That was a major challenge because there are many languages. Hindi was made the official language. No language was made a national language. There are many languages that around 21 languages are there in the constitution, but Hindi was made the official language. So it was the second challenge faced by the Indian politics about this language system. Our constitution did not give the status of national language to any one language. Hindi was identified as an official language. Therefore, there were many safeguards to protect other languages. Beside Hindi, there are 21 other languages recognized as scheduled languages by the constitution. A candidate in an examination conducted for the central government positions may opt to take the examination in any one of these languages. States to have their own rules and regulations. Hindi is the official language, but there was not like that. The government not impose Hindi on the states where people speak different languages. So this flexibility, this shown the Indian political leaders helped help our country to avoid the kind of situation that Sri Lanka find itself in. Remember the case of Sri Lanka? The Sinhala speakers were there, and civil war was also there. So this kind of situation never faced by our country because there is flexibility in our country. They have not imposed this language to anyone or any state that all have to use Hindi only. It is official language, and remaining is the choice of the people whatever language they want to speak. Now the next is about the center state relations. So the first point is that after 1947, India had a same ruling party for a long period of time. There was a long time when there was only a one political party, that is Congress. So because there was only one party, so for a long time the same party ruled both at the center and in most of the states also. So as and when the ruling party at the state level was different, the parties that ruled at the center tried to undermine the powers of the states. On that time or in those days, central government would often misuse the constitution to dismiss the state government that were controlled by rival parties. This undermined the spirit of federalism. But after 1989, due to multi-party system, coalition government was formed, and on that time it was around 1900 when the system was changed and other political party was also there. So that's why in our country there is a multi-party system, because in our country now there are many political parties. So on that time coalition government was formed at the center. That was the beginning of that time, because on that time, since no single party got a clear majority in the Lok Sabha, so the major national parties had to enter into an alliance with many parties including several regional parties to form a government at the center. And this led to a new culture of power sharing and respect for the state governments also. And now the federal power sharing is more effective today, and it was in the early years after the constitution came into force, and this made India a strong federal country. Now next is decentralization in India. You all know that India is a vast country, so a vast country like India cannot be run through two tiers of government. So that states in India are as, because there are many states which are as large as independent countries of Europe. In terms of population, UP is bigger than Russia. Maharashtra is as big as Germany. So there are many states which are internally very diverse. That's why there is a need for power sharing between within these states. Federal power sharing in India needs another tier of government, that is below the state government, because first is central government then state government. So there is a need of one more type of government that should be below the state government. So this resulted in the third tier of the government, that is local government. So when power is taken away from central and state government and given to local government, it is called centralization. The main basic idea behind this centralization is that there are a large number of problems and issues which are best settled at the local level. People have better knowledge of problems in their localities, so they also have better ideas to solve that problems and where to spend money. So they know these things better. This helps to inculcate a habit of democratic participation also. Local government is the best way to realize one important principle of democracy, that is local self-government. In the beginning, when this local government was formed, it was not so effective because it doesn't have that so much powers, but some changes were made in 1992 which made this government ineffective also and powerful too. So now let us discuss about that changes, ki what changes were there in 1992. So now we will discuss about the changes in 1992. So earlier that panchayat in villages and municipalities in urban areas were set up in all the states, but these was directly under the control of state government. Means they don't have that much power. Election to these local governments were not held regularly. Local government did not have any powers or resources of their own. That's why there was very little decentralization in effective terms. So that's why a major step was taken in 1992, that was towards decentralization. The constitution was amended. Amended means there was a change The constitution was amended to make the third tier of democracy more powerful and effective. What was the third tier on that time? That is local government. So to make it more effective, that local government, they make some changes. So the first was that it was mandatory to hold regular elections in that local government bodies. Also means that like in central state government, after 5 years elections take place. So in local government also, after every 5 years election takes place. Seats are reserved in the elected bodies, and executive heads of these institutions for the scheduled caste, scheduled tribes and other backward classes. One third of all positions are reserved for women. An independent institution that is called State Election Commission has been created in each state to conduct panchayat and municipal elections. The state government are required to share some powers and revenue with local government bodies. The nature of sharing varies from state to state, means it is not same for all because all states are different, so that it is differ from state to states. So these were the changes that was made in 1992 and make this local government more powerful. The structure of panchayat something like that. Several members and their head constitutes a panchayat. Members are called panch and their head is known as sarpanch. So that panch, that all that villages they formed a panchayat samiti, and some panchayat samiti they have formed a Jila Parishad. That is Jila Parishad, and the head of the Jila Parishad or the chairman is called mayor, and he exercises the powers of the local government. So this new system of local government is the largest experiment in democracy conducted anywhere in the world. There are now about 36 lakh elected representatives in the panchayats and municipalities, etc. Constitutional status for local government has helped to deepen democracy in our country. It also increased the number of women's representation and voice in our democracy. So this is all about the chapter of federalism. Now here the chapter finished. Prepare your notes on the basis of today's video lecture. So take care, stay at home. Thank you.